This is the Sony ZV E10, which came out a few months ago here in 2021. The camera is aimed at vloggers specifically, but because it shares the same APS-C sensor as other cameras, such as the A6000 series, is capable of much more than just vlogging. There have been many questions regarding the capabilities of the ZV E10, including its low-light capabilities. Although the ZV E10 isn't known to be a low-light beast, it is still a very capable camera in low-light settings. In this video, we're going to take a look at how well the ZV E10 handles low-light situations and what lenses and settings work best for low light. The Sony ZV E10 cannot see in the dark. The camera sensor is a grid made of small light sensing elements called pixels, which are only a few microns wide. These small pixels on the sensor converts the energy received from the light into electrical energy. The data that comes from the sensor is then stored on a memory card. Why is all of this important? It's because a camera needs light to energize the camera sensor in order to make a picture. Low light is a scenario where there isn't a lot of light to keep the camera sensor energized, and this introduces noise. Noise is random fluctuations in brightness for individual pixels. Noise is present within the camera's electrical system inherently, so the absence of light hitting the sensor allows this noise to show itself. Turning up your ISO, or gain, amplifies the light coming into the sensor, which make the picture brighter. However, this also raises the level of noise, or the noise floor, as well. Noise typically lives in the shadows of an image because there's less light, so keeping your ISO low is going to be key to getting clean low light footage. So what settings work best in low light? Using the HLG2 profile, I found that this profile retained great detail, easy to grade, and looks good right out of the camera. This is typically how most vloggers will be using this camera, and is how I used it as well. The picture profiles can be changed by pressing the menu button. You go to the first settings tab and scroll to page 8, and you'll find picture profiles at the bottom. Scroll up or down till you get to PP10 and press the center OK button to select it. The second setting you want to take a look at is your shutter speed. Now, shutter speed not only affects the motion in your shots, but also the amount of light that is being captured by the camera sensor. A faster shutter speed results in less light, while a slow shutter speed results in more light. The key to shutter speed is balance between natural-looking motion blur and letting in enough light to make a clean shot. Now, typically, your sensor speed is double what your frame rate is. This is known as the 180-degree shutter rule. But some rules are meant to be broken. Use the shutter speed that fits the look you are going for. The last setting that we'll look at is our aperture. The aperture is the opening at the front of the lens that either cuts light out or lets light in by opening and closing tiny aperture blades. The bigger the opening is, the more light will be let in. The smaller the opening, the less light will be let in. Shooting in low light requires allowing as much light in as possible to energize the sensor and avoid noise. I'm not going to get deep into aperture, but know that the lower your aperture number, the more light will be let in. The higher aperture number, less light will be let in. Using an aperture of 1.4 on the Sigma 16mm allows the ZV E10 to pick up detail in very low light. Now, most people probably won't shoot like this, but do know that the Sigma 16mm allows you to have that extra capability. Now, I typically shoot at 24 frames per second and a shutter speed of 1/50. This helps in low light as well. Now, shooting at high frame rates in low light is going to prove to be a big problem, as you're going to have to speed up your shutter, and this will cut down on your light coming into the camera significantly. The other thing to consider when shooting low light is color. Just like the human eye, the camera sensor needs light in order to detect color. With little to no light, colors will not look the way they actually look in real life, and this is known as color shift. To combat the issues of color shift and noise, This brings us to the main point of this video. You need light. I recommend getting the Aperture AL M9 mini light. This light can be mounted on a cold shoe or adapted to a 1/4-20 mount. This is an all-around useful light because it's small and doesn't require a lot to take it with you. It's roughly the size of a wallet and can easily fit in your pocket or gear bag. This is me walking in my garage using only the Aperture AL M9 light. There are no other lights on. I'm shooting at 24 frames per second, 1/50 as shutter speed, and an ISO of 100. One thing to remember is not to get caught up in low light performance, but rather learn to use low light to your advantage and arm yourself with the knowledge to get the best out of the ZV E10. For this camera only being $700, it's a very powerful camera. You don't believe me? If you haven't seen my review on how it does with photos, take a look up here. You'll be surprised. Until next time, I'll holler at y'all later. I'm out. Peace.